Well, if that wasn't magical, what is? Another day, another adventure.
Have you ever seen something so clear?
What trail are we on? How do you say it? Kuleoko. 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 Kuleoloko. I don't know. Words are hard sometimes.
My people have lived on the coast for at least 8,000 years. To live in a spiritual and physical balance in the same small area for thousands of years without feeling the need to live somewhere else requires restraint.
What we're looking at here is the way the natives of this area used to live. They've been here 8,000 years. Never left this spot, never felt the need to.
This is a Halloween one.
The pumpkin face. Jack the Pumpkin King. What are we doing, baby?
We're walking.
Where are we walking?
I don't know, the skyline. We saw a pumpkin, but it was a tree.
What?
But he looks like a pumpkin.
Did you find mushrooms on this walk?
I wish.
Okay, well, Apparently my wife is tripping. Heading up to the skyline hike here. Supposed to be able to have a nice view of the ocean from the top of this ridge. It's like 1,560 feet up. My lungs feel like they're clearing out about 1,500 feet of elevation. What do you think, babe?
I think,
My arm's tired. I shouldn't even hold the camera like this.
With a red rose in summer, the leaves soft and green, you walked without speaking, your arm held in mine, and the London was singing as we passed on by. Bitter departing of lovers entwined.
You said that you love me, you said that you care. You told me you'll never go and leave me behind. The one that I loved has altered his mind, and bitter the parting of lovers entwined.
I have to leave now, this place I adore. No more can I wander the wild glens and shores, for the tyrants have robbed me of house, lands and pride, and it's bitter the parting of lovers entwined.
And right through the trees over here, so foggy you can't even see it. But that is the bay. Free camping on the bay. Nobody's here.
The dew from the morning still hung from the leaves. The dogs, they were barking from over the fields.
When you sighed and I cried for what we had done, and it's bitter the parting of the wounded in love. So we kissed and we parted, and from her I didn't steer. I sat by the river and watched it flow by. Like time in a bottle, it weaves and it glides. Bitter the parting of lovers entwined.
All the dogs.
tomorrow.
Maybe just Sammy or just Max?
Maybe just us. Maybe just Sam.
Ow, I hit my fucking head.
Did that hurt?
A little bit, yeah.
You okay?
Do you really care?
No.
Farewell the rolling hills, and farewell to the field. Farewell of winter on the sea. It was his joy, love. He gave that ship to me. On the sea, love, on the sea. On oceans high and oceans low, we sailed that ship around. We owned the tide, love, for glory we were bound. On the sea, love, on the sea. And peace now, the sea it comes. And peace now, in her arms where I'll be, sleeping in the sea. And 3 times the ship went round, and 3 times round went she. It's murky deep, love, and far away from me. On the sea, love, on the sea. Farewell the rolling hills, and farewell to the field. Farewell, my fate tonight is sealed. On the sea, love, on the sea. And peace now, the sea it comes. And peace now, in her arms where I'll be, love, sleeping in the sea. It's where I'll be, love, sleeping in the sea.
Here we go. Where are we at, baby?
Where the hell are we? Washoe Lake,
Lake
Nevada.
Washoe Lake,
We left California. It's crazy. We spent way more time outside of California than I thought we would.
We sure did.
But that's not what we're here to talk about, because we are behind on updates. So we are going to rewind a couple weeks.
Rewind.
And we're going to tell you about the big S we took in San Francisco.
Oh, this was a fun route.
Not a recommended route. We did a little bit of backtracking. My grandma would have been upset.
Yeah.
She says backtracking is bad.
That's what happens when you go off grid and you have no cell phone service every once in a while.
And then your mother comes to town. Love you, Mom.
We had a last second couple of change of plans right when we hit cell phone service, but
So, first I'll tell you the route because it's funny, and then we'll go through and tell you all the different things. So,
it
we
was pretty
updated
fun.
you about San Francisco. We broke down, side of road, great highway. That was awesome. Went to Vallejo. We talked about that too, I think, in a video.
Yeah, we talked about
Hanging out with some family and stuff. And then we left there, and we were going to go back to the shore for a few days before we dipped over to Sacramento. So we were just kind of getting out of the heat for a few days because we had a few days before we had to be in Sacramento. So we went back towards the coast to Bodega Bay, and then we stayed there for a few days. And then we went up to Jenner, which we'll tell you about, for one night, which there was no cell phone service in Jenner, which is where
it was probably one of the most beautiful sunsets and sunrises.
It was
we
great.
ever had.
It was
It
awesome.
so pretty.
So we start to drive, and we're driving through the wine, like Sonoma area, like wineries, and to get back to Vallejo to pick up my mom, and then drive to Sacramento. And when we get back into cell phone service, there was like a change of plans and the way everybody was getting dropped off, and it just switched up the plans. So we decided we wanted to stay by the coast because it was still too hot, and we had 2 more days now. So we were like from Vallejo to the coast through Sonoma, and then we decided to go back to the coast to a new area, to Point Reyes, which we're going to tell you about. And then we went back to Vallejo. So that's the S that we took. Mm-hmm. It's like more than an S. It's like a cursive S.
It kind of looked like an and sign. Actually.
Yeah, basically.
Literally started here, went whoop, and then ended up further than where it was quite an adventure.
So we're going to tell you about a lot of cool places, but we recommend you make your own route because don't do it this direction. But
maybe use like north and south as like reference points for like where you should be going.
If you want.
East and west, if you want to make it difficult, throw all 4 of them in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be that hard.
We left Vallejo and we went to Bodega Bay, which was great.
Bodega Bay was
loved
amazing.
Bodega Bay.
It was so cool. That was another...
I don't remember much.
Really? That was the cave hike. That was the horse trails. It was the...
horse trails.
Remember I was saying that's the only time you definitely don't have to pick up your dog shit?
Oh!
Is when you're on a horse trail.
Because there was tons of horse shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember now. So we were parked... we just had this little spot like on the side of the road.
Yeah,
it was great.
Another spot that we found on Overlander. It was big enough to park a couple of big rigs there if you wanted to, and it was in a very
railroad
small. Truck? No, that was
I don't remember.
That was Davenport.
I get them all mixed up, honestly.
This one we were parked with like our windshield looking right at the trailhead, and
I see it.
And the side windows were looking out over the bay.
Why don't you tell us how it went in Bodega Bay?
Okay, well, Bodega Bay was a beautiful spot. It was another boondocking spot. They have signs all over that tell you you're not allowed to have a campfire, but there are like boondocking primitive campsites all over the spot that you can go to. It's right on the outside of a state park. That's I think it's like $45 a night to stay inside the park. Or if you want to just go up the trailhead of about, I think it was like 2 miles or something, not too far. You find a couple of spots that have picnic tables and big sandy spots for you to put your tent out. And you're literally sleeping on the bay underneath. It's a bird sanctuary there too. A lot of the places we've been staying have been bird sanctuaries. I think that's...
Is this the place where we had the hammock out?
No. That's Davenport. We did Davenport already. Yeah, it's just been a blur of fun, and
I can't picture Bodega Bay.
Bodega Bay, that was the one that we hiked through all the caves. Remember, we started up at our parking spot along the shore, and we hiked down that trail. We went across the bridge. We hiked along the river. After we got to the river, we entered the state park. Then we crossed over where like horse trailer parking was. Then we got down to the beach. Then we hung a left. We found another dead seal carcass. We found like 10 dead seal
10
carcasses.
miles there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I blocked it out of your memory.
It smelled so bad with the dead carcass, but
every time you passed the dead seal, it smelled.
It was a lovely
awful.
walk. There was a lot of people at Bodega Bay.
There was a good amount. It was a state park. It was like
it was great.
But once we got down and through the cave, there was pretty much nobody.
Yeah, it was a great spot.
Remember, there was all the.
Is there where there was like the fish market?
Yes, the fish market.
Okay.
And,
cute spot.
Yeah,
Boondocking, awesome. Yes, everybody should go there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember now.
You remember now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really wanted
that was
Bodega
awesome
Bay
spot.
and Davenport to be the same place.
Yeah, they kind of had the same feel.
Mind.
They were both like.
A lot of people tagged us on Instagram when we were in Bodega Bay.
Bodega Bay.
That's what I remember about Bodega Bay.
That author that you bought.
Carly Sweet.
Yeah. She drove by and was like, "Did I just see you parked at Bodega Bay?" Yeah.
Yep.
She was doing a road trip heading south as we were heading north, and we passed each other.
Look at that.
Like ships in the night. I don't think that's a proper way to use that phrase.
We're just rambling right now.
Well, whatever.
I'm okay
Sometimes
with
it's
it.
fun to ramble. So yeah. Anyways, that was a fun place. We went for a good long hike. We stayed there for like 3 days. We caught up on a good amount of work and video editing, and then we headed up the
To
road
Jenner.
to Jenner.
My cousin Elise gave us some suggestions because
Thank
we were
you,
like,
Elise.
we don't know what we're doing.
And happy birthday.
And she sent us to Jenner, which was this cute little beach town. And we found a really awesome little parking spot. And it was like where you parked, and then there was a little like marsh. Or
No.
like.
No, it's the
What's
end
that
of
called?
it's the very end of the Russian River.
Okay, so the river like runs into the ocean.
Yeah, and
whatever
it's
that's
not
called.
little, it's very wide.
And then there's a sandbar between the river and the ocean, and there was just like hundreds of seals
Yeah.
chilling, and they were so cute.
Little baby harbor seals.
And then it was the ocean. What's it called when the river meets the ocean? There's a word for that. Somebody tell us when you're watching this.
Yeah, let us know how silly we are that we can't think of that.
There's
I
a
wanted to
word
say
for that.
aqueduct, but that's a city.
And I wanted
river.
to say marsh, but we're sitting in front of a marsh.
Yeah, this is a marsh right here.
So whatever that word is, where the river and the bridge, the river and the bridge.
Now we're just making stuff up right now.
What is wrong with us? The river and the ocean meet. So that was really cool. We stayed there for one night. Watched the seals for a long time. That was really
that was
fun.
beautiful. We fell asleep to the sound of just crashing waves, and we woke up to just seals playing down in the harbor.
Yeah,
It
that was cool.
So pretty.
You couldn't get down there. It was
Yeah.
protected land because it's like
It was
kind of
like box seats at the zoo, if you will.
but they had free will, so that was cool.
It was fully catered in here. We had like the best view. Yeah, it was like the press box.
Fully catered for me. He is the caterer.
Yeah. Someday you should do that for me.
I made your birthday great.
You did.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, jeez. So, cut that part out.
Absolutely.
Not. I know you. So we left Jenner thinking we were heading back east.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to drive through the wineries, which was like beautiful. We drove like along the Russian River. Beautiful
It was so
drive,
pretty.
pine trees.
Yeah.
Guerneville, great town. The place was awesome. We just drove through there, but you guys should go there. It was really fun.
That place was cool.
Just like really great people, really awesome places where you could like hop off of the roads and get into the river. It was fun.
Ended up at the Corbel Winery.
Yeah, we went to Corbel Champagne Cellars.
Yeah,
Technically is what it's
technically.
called.
They have pretty
And,
good brandy. I didn't even realize.
Yeah,
That was it.
another suggestion from Elise. But what was really cool, it was like actually free. Like you can actually champagne or wine taste there. Completely free. You don't have to buy anything.
They had RV parking right up by the security.
Yeah, we called
gate.
before and they were
Yeah.
like, yeah, come on in. It's literally one spot.
Yeah,
So we called and they were like, yep, it's open.
yeah, but a really pretty little garden tour that's
Yeah.
free also.
Certain days of the week, I think, but whatever
Yeah.
day we were there, we just
It was
happened
free,
to like
yeah.
walk up and they were starting the garden tour like right as we walked up, so we just like swooped in and
It was such a pretty
it was
garden
really
too.
pretty. It was really fun.
Yeah,
Just
they
like
actually have their own hybrid version of roses that are only grown on that property and the owner's personal property.
super cool.
Yeah.
A great like free
Really
thing
cool.
to do. You could spend time there. You could like there was like picnic tables. There was a deli too,
Mhm.
but they were even cool. Like I think we pull out food or we just talked about pulling out food there.
We ate in the RV.
Oh, we talked about
We came back into Flow Bus. and
how
ate.
cute it would be if we like sat down and had a picnic out there, which you totally could, but we didn't. It was hot.
It was really hot.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons why we decided to head back to the coast.
Right.
Instead of
Once the plans
continuing,
changed, we thought it would be fun to stay in the wineries, and there was some cool harvest hosts there, I think, too.
Mhm.
Maybe one or two. But don't quote me on that. But we decided it was too hot, so we just zipped right back on over.
We just finished that and sign.
Yeah.
Whoop.
And
All the way back
went over to Point Reyes National
wait, wait.
Park.
Before we continue on to Point Reyes, I have one thing I wanted to say that
Okay.
was super, super cool about the Corbel Winery. The owner of the Corbel Winery, that was the original owner
that
was
woman.
was the first woman who ever owned outright her own winery in America
During Prohibition, right?
during Prohibition. Or I think she started it right before Prohibition kicked in, but as Prohibition was going, every year for Christmas, she sent cases of champagne to the president during Prohibition. So that was, like
super ballsy
yeah.
of her. I love that
yeah,
story.
so
I'm
she's
glad you shared that.
so she was a boss babe way back before
You go,
it was,
girl. We
before it
support
was
Corbel
Insta-cool.
now
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, we always probably drink it because it's
cheap.
attainable.
That's a better word. It's easily attained. Yes.
It's attainable. But now I'm like proud to easily attain Corbel. So
They had some really high-end wines there too. That
they
were
did,
like
and
$60, $80
their
a
son
bottle that
actually
were-
just
you can
started a
only get
winery.
there. Yeah.
That was really, really cool.
And those
It
were
was
really
awesome.
good.
Yeah, it was awesome, honestly. Did not disappoint.
Yeah, no, it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And then we went to Point Reyes, which is a
Point
great
Reyes.
place, but don't camp there.
Yeah, we found it on iOverlander, which is the app that we found this beautiful free campsite.
We find
and
most of our great
that's
places
where we
there.
found the Harbor Seal Sanctuary.
And
That's where we
one
found.
time we found something not
Yeah,
so.
and this time we found Point Reyes, and we camped there for the night. And I got out of the RV every time I saw somebody drive by that looked like they worked there, and like made eye contact and waved with them, and nobody said anything to us about it not being okay to camp there.
I'm gonna write a letter. I'm
There
getting
was-
mad just talking about
There
it.
was no signs anywhere that said you couldn't camp there. And sure enough, like about 9 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden this he was like a Homeland Security agent or something. He was not a national security or a national park guard. And he came up, pulled up behind me and put his lights on and had me come out. But yeah, he gave us a ticket for camping there even after I pointed out. I was like, could you show me just real quick where any of the no camping signs are? And he said it was supposed to be common knowledge. I don't
Which
know.
I just want you to know that I have
It's common knowledge. You can't camp places where there's no signs to not camp.
I've been
He was like
polling-
24. I don't want to be a jerk.
I've been polling the common community. This is just a like totally out of spite side note. Been polling the common community, people with RVs, people that camp, and it was not common knowledge that you couldn't park in a parking lot that didn't say no camping. It actually had a sign that said RVs this way. So
Yeah.
that's just my little spiteful comment, which
It kind of seemed like entrapment.
I'm gonna write a letter and I'm gonna fight
write
the
a
ticket.
sternly worded letter.
But we're done
to your
rambling about
boss.
this. To your boss.
Other
Homeland
than that,
Security,
though, that
sir.
place was
But so we were really frustrated that morning, but then I was like,
beautiful.
he's like, well, you can be here till like 2 a.m. or something. I was like, well, I will be here all day now,
We
sir.
waited like 2 minutes before 2 a.m.
Yeah, we stayed all night long, which I'm glad we did. So after we like worked through our frustration, meditated through it, had a good like ramble session, we were like, okay, well, obviously there's something magical here because we ended up here on accident. We weren't even supposed to be here. We've gone through troubles, and because we explore spirituality and adventure a lot, we know that those are all the things that add up to something magical.
Something that really cool is about to happen when you punch through all of it.
Yeah. So we swallowed our pride and we took quite a few walks. We walked like 12 miles that day. There was like lots of different
15.4.
trails. 15 miles. There was lots of different trails. And you guys saw a lot of this on the preview part of this video if you've
Our
gotten...
camera died before we got up to the spots where you could like see down to the ocean. So yeah, we got a lot of good footage, but we didn't get all of it in there. There was some amazing stuff.
Pessimistic thing to say. I was just going to tell you all the cool things we did find.
Fair enough.
Pointing you out, calling you out on that.
Pessimistic. Not something I normally get
Not
called,
him
but,
at
you know,
all, but
hey,
that was just a pessimistic
off
moment.
brand. Right
Off
there.
brand. Samantha.
Cheers, Samantha.
But anyways, so the first walk we took, we saw like a ton of beautiful deer and fawn just like
Yeah.
frolicking in the woods. So amazing. So
They
that
were
was really
everywhere.
cool. That was
It
magical.
was like the cutest infestation you ever saw.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then we found like a burned out tree from like probably, I don't know, our stories that we made up was like this ancient burned out tree that people used to like, I don't know, come together in community in, and like I was like crying. I just had a moment.
There
in
was
that
literally
tree.
like you could have fit like
was
this
a
front
huge
section of the
tree.
bus inside of the tree. The part
It was
that
really
burned
cool.
out.
And he climbed it and I went inside the little hut inside of it, and so that was really cool. I was like, okay, maybe that's why we're here, to have this moment. Like I experienced like a real beautiful spiritual moment there.
And then from there we walked down a crater. Remember, it was a fault line.
Yeah.
We walked down a spot where
Where the fence had jumped in an earthquake.
Yeah, in a matter of some
Like 100 years ago.
Yeah, a little over 100 years ago, in a matter of less than a minute, this Earth split apart by 16 feet.
And they had a fence
Yeah.
that you could see it from back
Yeah,
then. So
it
that was really cool.
Pretty cool. You
So we
could
were like,
see where
okay,
it
we're
ripped
seeing
apart
some
the
cool
Earth. It was really
things.
cool.
And then we hiked up this other trail, and it had some replicas and some like ruins of some actual
some actual
huts and
gathering places
community gathering huts and teepees and all these really beautiful things from this native culture that was there, and they were indigenous people that lived there for 5,000 years and never moved, which is kind of a crazy.
You said 5,000 right now, but in the video you're reading the plaque and you say 8,000.
Okay, maybe it was 8. I don't remember.
8,000 years.
Okay, so in the video I said 8.
First time that they've.
I was reading it there, so you should count on what I said there.
Yeah. Memory is very flawed.
8,000 years, and it's just a really crazy concept. If 8,000 years, these people were provided for on this land. It was so lush and bountiful that they didn't ever have to leave to go find resources, and that was just super powerful. So that was like one of the other awesome adventures we had on Point Reyes. And then we went on the big walk, which was honestly just like magical thing after magical thing. It was like this beautiful creekside adventure with plants and greenery and trees and redwoods and a beach when you got all the way to the top, and bridges, and
it was pretty epic hike.
I don't know. Just the video. That's it.
We started at sea level. We walked up to 1,560 feet, and then we walked down, almost back down to sea level, and then back up and around that same.
It was beautiful.
So it was quite the trek.
Yeah, we walked, like we said, 15 miles that day, but it was what I thought was cool, and what you can do, which is legal, is you can bring your RV there. You can park all day. You just have to leave from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And
you can also camp back there in those woods too.
You have to get a permit, and you can't camp in the parking lot in your car, but you can. There's camping spots that are
hike
primitive.
about 8 miles in.
Yeah, so it's like a whole adventure, and no dogs. You can't bring your dogs to camp.
It was just this time of year though, because of some bird that was like going extinct that breeds there.
But what I would recommend is going, and if you have an RV or something, like bringing this, and then that was what made it to where we were able to hike so much, because we got to like go on a little hike, come back, take a break, go on a little hike, come back, eat, relax, and then like restock on water.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, like it was totally the kind of place where you could go and spend 18 hours or whatever and just like rest in
between. Treat it like Disneyland
and see so much. And if you can find a camping spot, I'm sure there's RV parks around there. Like I don't know, it's not a bad idea.
If you get all the way to the end of the trail, there's a spot that the end of the trail, we walked 15.4 miles and we didn't do all the trails. So you could walk like something 20 something miles.
If you live around there, I can imagine that you could walk there forever without doing the same thing twice.
Probably a couple 100 miles of trails if you count all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like a spot where there's a bunch of wild buffalo running around. There's bear, there is deer.
It's just really magical. It's a
it was
preserve.
Such a cool place.
So of course it's magical. So really awesome. Highly recommend.
Plenty of spots you could climb down a little spot and put your feet in the creek too.
Yeah, and it was an adventure that was hard to get to, so it meant more at the end, which was really cool. And then we left there really late at night and went back to Vallejo and had everything come full circle.
Right.
Where we met back up with family, picked up my mom, and then headed to Sacramento.
Right, and that is where the next one will be. We'll catch up with you in Sacramento, and
we'll catch up with you somewhere else because we've already been there and gone.
Right.
Wherever we're at, we'll catch you up on Sacramento and
next update will
Spiritual
be
Summer Camp.
Spiritual Summer
Which
Camp.
was awesome.
Good old time. All right. See you later, people.